Hi, this is Jack Downs with a review of the processing effects assignment. Very important assignment because this is going to give you the skills that you need to do the audio processing on in your own PSA. We're going to do a lot of stuff to this example one, and some of it will definitely apply to your actual PSA that you record. So I've asked you to make some folders, download some files. That stuff should all be explained in the instructions, which you should have in front of you also. I'm just assuming you already have the files downloaded. Remember, you're going to be working off from the hard drive of the PC, not off the flash drive, because Audacity does not like to save projects onto a flash drive. It wants you to be on the hard drive, like the documents, the downloads, or something like that. On your own computer, wherever you want that, or on a lab computer. And here we go. So I have a project folder. Inside I have made some a grading folder that I could save things into if I wished. I won't really do the save probably, but you'll do an export at that point. And I have imported audio and put the PSA file here. I'll be working the same file. What is this? Well, this is a public service announcement that I recorded myself, and you get to play with it. First off, when you look at it, you could listen to it. It's going to be pretty hard to hear, though. But with your headphones on, you'll be able to hear it. Here with my speakers, you won't hear too much because it's so small. But then there's been some places it's so big. What's going on here? Let's take a little listen here.
Be a man, see the doctor. Dead men aren't good providers.
I'm not sure if you can really even hear that through the webcam here, but there's not that much there, right? But then we have a sort of a big thing here, which says what?
But.
It's an unusually big but. It's like a plosive. It's kind of a fake plosive. But then we have these things here. What are these here? It's a big tap or a bang, right? Like you've had an accident with a mic, or you banged to the table, you tapped it with your finger by accident, or something happened, right? So this file has some problems, obviously. The first thing isn't so much a problem, but something you generally would begin correcting is to delete the tip and tail. So I'm going to do that right now, deleting the tip and the tail, we call it, which is a little bit cleanup to start with. Then I'm going to get into these bangs here. Now, the tip of the tail, I didn't have to worry about zero crossings, but here I kind of do. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Well, quite a bit, actually. I made a selection, and I'm going to fit this selection here. I'm going to see there's the big bang. You see how it overwhelmed the mic so much it got cut right off on squared off tops and edges and so on. I'm just going to select this whole area, which is actually a very small amount of time. And before I delete, I'm going to select. Where is it? Select region. No, spectral audio clips. I'm sorry, zero crossings right there, right in front of me. Select add zero crossings, and I could have just used the Z key, right? You may have, if you look carefully, you would have seen, and when you do it, you can look carefully and see a slight change in the selection. It's worth doing. It can make a difference between a little bit of a little artifact created digitally otherwise, which maybe get a tiny tick or something. I'm going to delete that now, and I'm going to zoom back out to the whole project, and I see my big bang is gone there. I'll do the same thing here. I zoom in just so I can make sure I'm getting the right spot. I could just do it from this view, but I think it's safer to zoom in and select that whole area. And then I'm going to, again, go to select as zero crossings. And again, I'm going to just hit the delete key. Okay, so I have made some significant changes to this file, but it's so very small, it might be nice as I continue to work with it to have a little more size. And to increase the size, the amplitude of the entire file, we do normalization. So this is under Effect menu. And most everything we're going to be doing is under the Effect menu from here on out. So under Effect menus, in other installations, or maybe your own on your computer, things may look a little different sometimes, and different versions too. Frequently, all the things you're looking for are here, but they may be grouped differently. Sometimes it's just one really long list. This is all choices you make actually in the setup of the program. You could choose to have them all in one list or grouped together like this. In any case, they make some sense to have them grouped here. So under we're going to go under volume and compression, and then go down to normalize. So under volume and compression, go down to normalize. And I'm going to suggest we normalize to a -3, which is actually a number I hear is generally used for YouTube. For us, we're going to do a later normalization to go up to -1. What this means is this is amplitude increased to -3, 3 decibels below the peaking point, the boundary, the top end. And we will apply. We could preview if we wanted to, but I don't see any reason to. It made the whole thing bigger. Good. And now we can hear it a little bit better if we wanted to play it. And you should. I'm not going to play and listen to the whole thing.
Be a man, see the doctor.
But you should listen to the whole thing so you can hear what it sounds like as we change it, and you see whether you think the changes are good or bad. And the same thing for you for your own PSA for sure. After everything you change, check it. Did it improve it? If it didn't, then undo it. Remember, you have unlimited Control Z's in this program. It's more important that you make things sound good rather than you follow certain steps. Okay, I do see this big thing here. There's some gaps of air that has to be dealt with.
Way to live longer.
There's a big gap. That's strange.
But far too many.
That's just way too big, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to zoom in on that. And I can find the area which is actually that butt here, right? And I'm going to go to Effect, Volume and Compression, Amplify, and I'm going to use negative amplification. I'm going to start with, in your instructions I say -3, I think 4 is fine, but we're going to apply this. And it reduced it. I'll listen to it again. Still a little bit large. It's not going to sound great, but if we keep on reducing it, I can go to Effect, and I can repeat the negative amplify, and I could do it again actually. Effect, repeat the negative amplify now. It's getting more natural. It's still a little bit odd, but it's getting a little more natural. So I would do something like that to reduce the size of it. So I did that. And then we're going to use noise reduction. So let's do noise reduction. Again, I'm going to zoom back out to see the whole thing. I use these buttons a lot. This is how I like to zoom. Okay, noise reduction is a two-step process. First of all, notice that there's areas with no words. However, if I play there, I can see there's some sound there. I can see sound coming out. Now, depending on the quality of your connection, your quality of your headphones, you may or may not actually be able to hear that sound much, but there is sound there. That sound could be kind of background hum or other background noises in the room. So this noise removal, or actually noise reduction, I think they call it now. Noise reduction. I keep saying noise removal. It's noise reduction. Effects especially is good for things like hums. Okay, so let's go and take a look at it. So we're going to go Effect, Noise Removal and Repair. And we're going to go to Noise Reduction. And you see I have selected a piece where there's no words. And you should do that first too. And go to Noise Reduction means that we're going to tell it to get the noise profile. So in other words, I told it, listen to that sound. And that's what I want you to remember, because that's the stuff you're going to remove. Now I'm going to select the entire file. And we're going to go to Effect, Noise Removal and Repair, Noise Reduction, and then we're going to say OK. Now this is set at 6s right now, which is good. That is generally thought to be good numbers for voice. If you ever wonder, you could click the question mark on something like this. It'll bring you to the website, and you can read so much more about these effects here. But you actually say why. You see why they chose 6s and why that has is a good area for voice in particular, and so on. And what would happen if you changed it to be something more. So so you can learn so much more about all these effects here. So I'm going to just say OK. So it removed those frequencies from throughout. And it's really important now that you listen to the sound again and make sure.
To be a real man, you must live up to your responsibilities.
Make sure that it doesn't sound worse, that it hasn't gotten ruined in some way. Noise removal is a powerful tool, but if the frequencies you end up grabbing are ones that are important for the voice accidentally, or if you grabbed a piece of voice accidentally, it would strip that out of the entire file. It would start to sound very bad. Often a damaged file, a file that's damaged by noise removal, will sound kind of like a bad phone connection, like a tinny sound, I would say. So if you do this, you should do this here, but in your own file, your PSA, if you do it and it sounds worse, then undo it. Maybe try to grab a different piece of noise. the space without words. And continue. But if it doesn't work, don't use it, remember? Okay, good. Okay, so I did the B, I'm kind of doing things out of order slightly. I already did the sort of fake plosive. Something else you'll see here is I've got some big gaps in here. There's a big gap in here. There's a really big gap in here. There's a kind of a big gap in here. There might be some others, but those are the main ones. I want you to listen to those and remove some of them by just selecting and deleting with the zero crossing. Find zero crossings, okay? So you're going to remove dead air, but not all dead air. We need to feel like the file can breathe a little bit, that there's pauses and so on. But we're looking for unnatural pauses and removing them. I'm not going to do that, but as part of your job here, okay? Okay, so we're going to assume you did all that. Good. So let's go ahead and find the equalizer. So I'm going to select the entire file again. And we're going to continue with some more effects. So we're going to go to equalizer. So there's a couple different kinds of equalizers. We're going to go to, it doesn't really much matter if we choose a filter curve or the graphic. These are two different ways of looking at the equalizer. But I'll go to the filter curve. What this is it grabs certain frequencies, and I can make those frequencies, like all frequencies in this case, higher or lower, or I could just put points on this and grab certain parts and change it and so on. See, I just made a point. I could then take that point down and change it and move it around. To do this manually, you got to know so much about it, and you can learn a lot about it, and that would be great. If you get into sound, you will do that. I'm going to flatten that again, essentially revert it, because I don't think that's going to be useful for us. I think instead it's going to be a lot safer to choose some presets, factory presets in particular. And for speech, generally it's suggested that you try a low roll-off for speech. So this is going to reduce the very low frequency to a certain point. Sometimes when we speak, our voice, as it's starting out, starts a little low and then comes up. So it's going to reduce that a little bit. We'll see if we think this improves it. So we will apply that. And we could listen to it, see if we like it better.
Dead men aren't good providers. Fathers.
I've improved it a little bit. You'll have a lot better view of this when you listen with your headphones. What else could you do? I think if we were going to go pretty extreme, and why not, right? Why not? So let's try. I like to have a little bit of a bass boost, which kind of changes that around a little bit, but I think it adds a little depth to it. So you could try that. How does this go? Let's try it.
Be a man, see the doctor.
I think that works pretty well. Also, you could try, so in some ways those counteract with each other, so you kind of decide which way you want to go. But I think going through this process will help you hear different things. But something that would add to the bass boost would be a treble boost. Sorry, so we have to go back to our equalizer. Filter equalizer would be a factory presets, a treble boost, which brings up the high end a little bit. I'll apply that. And now,
be a man, see the doctor.
And maybe you like that. Maybe that's a little bit too much, but those are some things to try. Okay, good. And you could try them here, but on your own file, you will try them and see. Okay, compressor is something else you could do. Compressor takes the difference between the high and the low ends and brings them together. So it makes the very lowest amplitude things a little higher and the very highest a little lower. And it kind of compresses the sound and can give it a bit more impact. So let's try that. Volume and compression, and we'll go to compressor here. And there are a lot of presets and settings you could use. There's factory presets. Oh, lead vocals, power vocals. How about podcast radio? Let's try that. And it's very similar to what the default was, actually. So I think podcast radio would be a good choice. And we could preview, all these cases we could preview them. I'm just going to apply it myself, though. And it just changed it slightly. All right, so we can see if it makes much difference.
Be a man, see the doctor. Dead men aren't good providers.
Again, you could play with some of those other choices there. And depending on what your voice is like, it may get better or worse, too. But at least try, I think, that choice, perhaps. With a compressor, which is close to its default values when you just open it up. And then we are getting even more extreme now. So you could stop there and just go to the final normalization. However, we could do a limiter, especially because see that I'm seeing some of these peaks that have gotten a little bit high around here. Notice that if I'm going to try to increase the size of everything, physically it's almost like stopped by the highest peaks. So what if we cut off the peaks, right? Well, we could try that. We could go to Effect, oh yeah, we're going to go to Volume Compression and try Limiter. And Limiter, this threshold is -5. Oh, that's quite a bit. And we do have some presets and settings we could try here and look at factory presets for this too. Master limiter, modern punch, play it loud. Yeah, I'm going to try this. I would normally go to a minus. Let's go down to -4. -4. These I've noticed these get a little tricky sometimes to get it just where you want it. And we will leave all the rest of themselves. Smoothing is good. That's gonna like kind of bring things together from the frequencies that were removed. So we're going to apply. Sure. So we did actually let me undo that one. I didn't like that. Limiter and compression, smoothing. Oh, makeup target. That's what it is. -1. Oh, I guess that's okay. Let's go ahead and we'll leave it at what it's. Let's see what our presets were. Factory preset defaults were there, -5. And again, let's look at another one. VO limiter, -4. Okay, I'll try it again. Okay, I think that's fine. And I'm going to hit the play again.
Be a man, see the doctor.
Now it's
Dead men aren't good providers.
kind of cut off the tops a little bit.
Husbands.
And finally, we're going to do our final normalization, which is kind of repeated normalization. First normalization we did was because the file was so small. Remember, every time we increase the size of everything, though, we're also increasing the size of noise and stuff, too. So that's what you have to kind of weigh against how much you normalize. If you have noise problems in there, it's going to increase those, too. But we'll go ahead and do it. Effect, we're going to volume compression, normalize. I like to do a -1 as a final normalization, which is pretty loud. And we're going to apply that. Brought everything up a little bit. Not too much. Some of those peaks are hitting it a little bit, but that's how it goes. Okay. So the file has been, we went through all that work, and then you would, of course, you'd be saving the project as you go, and then you would do a file export, and then you're going to listen to it, and after you're set, you listen to it, you do a file export as an MP3, make that file choice, make sure you know where you're putting it, and that's the file that's going to go up on Brightspace. Okay, then there's one more step. If you moved on to the next page, the last page in this assignment, you'd see there's a part 2. And this one is a bit less structured and a little more fun, maybe, I guess I'd say. I asked you to bring in here now the voice edit file that we've used before. Remember this one?
From the city of Plattsburgh, 4th.
Okay, good. I want you to do some stuff to this, maybe some weird stuff or some different stuff or some interesting stuff. I want you to make 2 versions of this. And you're going to change the name of it. You're going to export it with a different name each time. So you're going to go, you can do some stuff to it. I'm going to select the entire thing. What are you going to do? So you could try, I think especially, not so much fading, tempo. How about changing the tempo or the pitch? Okay, that could do something interesting. How about delay and reverb? Those choices are really interesting. Under special, everybody likes reverse. Let's do that. Okay, if I like that and that would be one of my choices, I would then file export and I would call that voice. What did I say? Start with a fresh file each time. Yes, I'd call it like Jack reverse 1 or something like that. And then I would do another one. I'm going to do Control Z, but of course you could start with a fresh version of the file each time if you wish. So I'm starting kind of fresh again, and I'm going to find something else interesting. And you can use any of the effects that you want. Some of them you have to play with a little bit to make it get interesting or weird or strange or different. Distortion and modulation. You could do a wah-wah and change the settings significantly. Percent offset is way up high. and I'm going to apply that. And what did that do?
From the city of Plattsburgh.
It didn't do very much. You know what's a good one? Do I have echo? Special. Where's my? Oh, I don't know if I have echo anymore. Delay. Oh yeah, there's echo right there. So I can change the factor. You have to play these numbers to make it more interesting, but it goes like this.
From the city of Plattsburgh, 4th of July parade for audio video production.
Okay, and so on. So play with them. Find two that you like and save them like that. Okay, and then again, you're going to export those two. So in the end, there's going to be 3 things in the Brightspace assignment upload. The improved PSA and these 2 files that you played with. That's it for the assignment. Thanks.